engaging the young people, walking up to them on a Friday night. There might be 15 of them, but we just need to realise, they're still children, the kids. There's nothing to be afraid of.
It's interesting because as soon as we talk about, antisocial behaviour, people start talking about youth and the questions, does it get more during the holidays? But it's what constitutes antisocial behaviour, essentially. Because I was reading a report over the weekend about people getting really cheesed off in Manchester about the amount of concerts, say, at the Etihad, and the noise that then emanates from that, because there's all sorts of stuff that makes it life a nuisance for people.
Absolutely. Antisocial behaviour is one of those terms that's used all the time, and nobody really understands what is antisocial behaviour. And it's because it's quite personal. What will annoy you may not annoy me, so therefore I don't think that's antisocial behaviour, you think it is. It's all down to perceptions. That's why people like the council and housing associations and the police have a real issue sometimes tackling it, because they can't put it in a box themselves. If you're a criminal, that's quite easy to define. You've either broken the law or you haven't broken the law. With antisocial behaviour, it's all about perceptions, and concerts is a great example of that.
And last week I was out and about in a park, and there was I was beginning to grumble because there were some kids having a right noisy, loads of banter, loads of laugh. And my husband turned around and said, actually, he said, it's the sound of kids having a laugh. What better sound is there?
Absolutely. I remember about 15 years ago when I used to work for a local authority dealing with this sort of thing, and I got a complaint once of a neighbour complaining about his 11-year-old neighbour child who was outside his house on his own during his 6 weeks old days at 11 o'clock in the morning bouncing a ball.
Yeah, well, you talk about bouncing balls. I bet there's one grumble used to be the sound of balls against the gable ends of houses when people were inside. So again, it's what constitutes a nuisance. What kind of antisocial behaviour do you see that Mancunian Way will say, yeah, that is antisocial?
Again, it's about defining what is antisocial. So we go into neighbourhoods, and we've got several key aims. One is about making sure young people are safe, that they're not engaging in risky behaviour, that they understand action and consequences. But we come across young people who are drinking, mostly these days smoking cannabis in large groups, hanging around, some of them getting up to low-level criminality. And that's where I would define antisocial behaviour, is when it's almost verging on low-level criminality.
All right, and the government has said that they take antisocial behaviour seriously. Many powers available for councils to tackle it, and it must be for local authorities to decide their priorities and allocate resources accordingly. Is there enough powers being exercised against it?
We have enough powers. It's nothing to do with any more powers. It's to do with housing associations, council and police taking it seriously, which they do, but it's about prioritising it. With all the cuts that have happened, antisocial behaviour now has been pushed down to the bottom until something happens, and then you'll get all their chief execs and senior police officers coming out saying antisocial behaviour is a problem and we're going to tackle it, and you'll get the same rhetoric all the time, but then the next day it all goes back to normal and it gets pushed down to the bottom.
So were you holding your breath to a certain extent? To something big happening for something to get tackled?
It's because nothing big ever happens with antisocial behaviour, because if something big happen, it then becomes a criminal offence. So then we're going to tackle the criminal offence side of it. Antisocial behaviour is a catch-all phrase we use to describe something personal we don't like.
All right. Thanks very much, Nick, for coming in. Nick Buckley there from the charity Mancunian Way. Brings the time just gone 8:30.